What is happening, everybody? Welcome to today's vlog. So today's vlog is going to be a pretty short one, but pretty informative. So, as a lot of you guys are probably still training from home at the moment, you've probably got pretty limited equipment. What I wanted to show you guys in today's video is how you can get good results. Well, I wanted to show you guys how you can make exercises harder with just a resistance band and the weight you have. So let's say, for example, you only have a 10 kilo dumbbell at home or a 10 kilo kettlebell, and that's all you have access to apart from resistance bands as well. So making exercises harder in terms of increasing weight is very difficult because you only have a 10 kilo dumbbell or a 10 kilo kettlebell. So there's many ways that you could use a resistance band to make that harder. And I'm going to show you some examples of how you can do that. So you can add resistance bands into pretty much every exercise and increase the tension to make that weight more challenging. So by adding a resistance band in, the difference is it's going to challenge you in slightly different areas throughout the movement. Normally when you'd be resting, for example, let's take like a squat, or a push-up or something like that, where you'd normally be resting at the top. If you're using a resistance band, it's still creating that tension and making it challenging. What it also means is that the weight that you're lifting feels heavier because you're also having to work against the resistance of the band. So let's show you some examples. Okay, so ideally you'd have a range of different size bands. Okay, so like normally the thinner the band or the lighter the color, the easier it is. But again, if you only have one resistance band, one dumbbell, one kettlebell, you can still make it more challenging with just that access to that equipment. Resistance bands are relatively cheap to pick up, and I would kind of say that everybody should have resistance bands in their home gym setup because they're so cheap, they're so versatile, and they last a long time if you're the only one using them. These don't last me as long because they're being used so much with clients, with myself. So like every, say, 6 months I have to renew the most used ones, like a red one, for example, which gets used a lot. But for you at home, it probably lasts you a couple of years at least. So it's a pretty cheap deal, but incredibly versatile. So if you can even increase the resistance on the bands by adding more than one band into a particular exercise. So you could start with like the red band if that felt too easy, or for example, you've only got a red and a black band and the red band was too easy, then you went on to the black, that was too easy. You could even pair both of the bands together during an exercise. So now you've got the resistance of both of the bands. So they are very versatile. But what we're going to do is we're going to show you some examples of how you can do certain popular movements with the... Okay, so let's start off by taking a squat, for example. So we're going to use 10 kilo dumbbell, goblet squat position, and I'm finding this too easy, so I want to make it a little bit harder. So one way we can do that is by adding a resistance band in, okay? So if I take any of the resistance bands, depending on how much resistance you obviously want to increase it by. So with a squat, for example, I put both feet inside the band. I bring the band up over my neck. So now, then when I come back into that squat, I'm also squatting against the resistance of the band. So as I come down, it lightens, and then I've got to push up against the band as well. Okay, so I've now made that exercise even more challenging. And like I said, I could then move up to a purple band, or I could double the bands up. So there's one easy way that you can make something like a squat more challenging, okay? Let's look at something like a lunge, okay? So, again, 1 foot inside the band. We're going to do reverse lunges. I'm going to bring the 1 foot in the band over my neck. And then I'm going to grab the dumbbell into that goblet position again, stepping back, driving through that front leg. Okay, again, that resistance, extra resistance, makes a significant difference than just doing it with the dumbbell on its own, okay? So there's two popular exercises. Push-ups is another great one. Maybe you find push-ups at home too easy with just your body weight, okay? So you can literally make it harder by adding a band in. Looping the band over both hands, popping the band behind your shoulders, and then coming into your press up position. Down, up. So as I push up, I'm pushing against the resistance of the band. Now let's take something like a kettlebell swing. Let's say you only have access to a particular weight kettlebell. How can you make the kettlebell swing even harder? Looping your resistance band over your kettlebell, so you're literally tying it around your kettlebell. Popping both feet inside the band, legs nice and wide, and then drive. So as I come up to the top, the resistance band is adding that extra resistance at the contracted point of the movement, okay? Okay, so how about bicep curls? So let's say we only have access to the one dumbbell. You could do bicep curls like this, or you could do one at a time. You can add a resistance band in to make it harder again, okay? So you can loop the resistance band around your dumbbell, placing both feet inside the band, grabbing it like so, like a hammer curl. So as I'm up here, there's that extra resistance I'm having to fight against whilst doing these curls. Okay? I could then use that dumbbell to anchor down the resistance band, and I could do tricep extensions. Okay, so turning around, elbow pointing up, extending overhead. So I can go straight from bicep curls into those. Or, again, you can use that by putting your foot inside the band at the back, bringing the dumbbell round and using both the dumbbell and the resistance band at the same time for added weight. Okay? So as you can see, there are many different ways that you could use the resistance band to make exercises harder. So when you're doing an exercise at home, just have a little think. If you've only got access to one particular weight, is there a way I could add a resistance band in safely, because you want to make sure that you're doing it safe, and make this exercise harder by using the resistance band and the dumbbell at the same time? So there you have it, guys. Some ways that you can use a resistance band in your workouts at home if you only have access to a limited weight and you want to make it more challenging. You can add resistance band in as well to make it more harder. And you can even carry that over into the gym when you do have access to more weight, and just use it as a tool of progressive overload to make your workouts a little bit more challenging, a little bit different, and more fun as well. The more interesting it is, the more fun it is, okay? And just keep challenging your body to adapt to the new stimulus that you put it under. Okay guys, so this vlog was a short and sharp one, but some decent information in there for you. So don't forget to hit the thumbs up, hit the subscribe button, and I'll see you in the next one.